Welcome back to Shum's Universe. So today, guys, we're going to go over LifePath number 6, so the true definition of it. So when we look at the Chaldean tablets, there's a few definitions for the compounds of like 15 over 6, 24, 33, and 42, after which they don't really seem to think LifePaths will go that high based off the years that they were in. I'll briefly cover 51 as well, just in case. I don't think anybody, well, yeah, I think you can get a 51 from a LifePath. To a certain extent, there's some people that could, depending on the year they're born in. So when we look at 15 to start off, the 15 over 6 is considered a very likable person, very trustworthy. This is like 6 all across. 6 is the family number, right? So it's all about like social orientation, brings sort of like a familiar setting to people. So like when you're around a 6, you just feel very comfortable. So when you have a 15 over 6, it gives the person like an extra, I would say, a gift to be a very ideal leader. That's because of the 1. The 5 makes them have that gift of gab as well. On top of the 6 is alluring and seductive presence. So this is a person that can do very well in like sales and politics. Like they can do extremely well working for a company that's commission based and they just have to convince somebody to buy something. Works extremely well. In politics, they can do things very easily just because they can talk to a large sum of people and they're going to look at them like they're innocent, even if they're not. And they can persuade them to do things that they wouldn't typically do, like vote for them. Well, that's just politics in general. But when you look at the 15 over 6, it's known for being a magical number when it comes to making magical things happen. People with this number tend to be the underdogs that actually make it out on top. But this also could be used for black magic as well. A lot of like the most dangerous witches in history, not discussing their names on YouTube, had this number. So they're able to do a lot of different things that other people would translate into, they'd say straight up it's black magic, but they had this sort of Venus energy that allowed them to use their sexuality, their attraction, and also different, of course, rituals to get things that they wanted. So 15 in the Chaldean tablets is known as the black magic form of the 6, but also one of the more lucky versions because of the leadership dynamic that you guys possess. If this doesn't apply to you and you're 15 over 6, you also can, of course, do like things like music, things in the medical field or legal field that I always discuss. But moreover, you guys are meant to like persuade people to do things. That's where you'll make the most money, especially if you're young and you're looking into things. I'd definitely say get a sales job if you're 15 over 6. Next one is 24 over 6. This is what I would say is like the nicest version of the 6 by far, because of the 2 is first in the compound number. So the 2 being there is going to make somebody very cooperative, diplomatic, very understanding for other people. The 4 makes them pretty organized. This type of person you want to sit down and have a beer with. When you have this number, whether you're a male or a female, there is some sort of tragedy when it comes to your relationships. Like either if your numbers are balanced in the rest of your numerology chart, you'll have good relationships, but if not, you might have a tragedy you have to go through. I mean, there's going to be somebody who might cheat on you. There's some sort of infidelity that might happen. It's not necessarily your fault. It's just something that you have to go through based off of your life path and the lessons that you're supposed to learn here about this time. So you just have to sort of accept it. When you have the 24 over 6, what I'd recommend is being somebody who's resilient when it comes to self-appreciation, making sure you don't let other people bring you down. This also is a number that's prone to get like abused by their partner. So just make sure that you choose a partner very selectively and make sure that their personality complements yours. If you're somebody who's timid and shy and reclusive, make sure you're not choosing somebody who's very outgoing and charismatic, but ignore the dark sides of them. There's a lot of confident people out there. They tend to have a bit of a dark side to them that can make them a bit interesting, to say the least. So just be very, very careful of that if you're 24 over 6 to avoid the abuse portion of this. But moreover than that, you guys can also get into things like the medical field, music and arts do very well, and even finance. And you guys actually do very, very well in those fields just because of your organizational abilities of the 4. You guys make lots of money. Creative fields do very well for you guys as well, writing, singing, etc. But I would say moreover, the medical or legal field will be even stronger for you guys, even in comparison to the creative arts when you look at the 24 specifically. Next one is the 33, big master number, woohoo. Chaldean, they don't care about master numbers so much, so it's interesting. We have the double 3 energy, which is very creative. This is a very structured version of the 6. They still understand that 2 of the same number is going to have some sort of amplified effect, even if they didn't know about master numbers yet. Pythagoras seemed to have learned from them and said, you know what, these numbers are master numbers, and due to the fact that we're in the 3rd dimension, he stopped at 33. But nonetheless, there still is very interesting concepts to look at. What you have to look at is this, is that the 33 has 2 3s, which makes the person double creative. Then you have the 6, which is of course a creative number in itself. So a person that has 33 and Chaldean tablets is going to be somebody who is extremely creative, extremely talented, somebody who can get into things like politics, getting into movies, acting, singing, writing, what have you. But you guys are really meant to be in front of the camera, so social media, all those things will do very well for you. You guys are like the best influencers. So like whatever you enter into, you guys will become the mavericks of that said niche market, and then you'll end up being, you'll be that standout person. When it comes to money, this is quite a wealthy LifePath number. You guys tend to earn quite a bit of money because of the number 3. 3 is Jupiter. Jupiter is all about expansion and growth, and 3, C, third letter, commerce. You have to understand that you guys are very good at just getting money through business and also through creative means. So it just really depends on like where your energy goes. Understand you guys have like 3 11s inside of you, so you definitely can influence whatever you're going into in a very like catalyst sort of way. So very intense energy to have, and I would say that you can do whatever you want with that energy as long as you remain focused on a singularity. Don't just let it scatter and do whatever it wants. As long as you actually have a main prior focus, you'll do very, very well. Last one, actually second last I'll say, is 42/6. 42 is pretty similar to 24. Only difference, I'd say the 42 is a little bit more organized, a little bit more lucky when it comes to relationships. The 4 is first. Doesn't mean like you're lucky in a tendency of like relationships where you'll do better with a partner, but you might not get abused because the 4 is a bit darker. So like 42s tend to be a little bit more on the abrupt side, hot-headed. So they tend, if whether you're a man or woman, you tend not to really take a lot of stuff from people. I'm not trying to use vulgarity on YouTube. So you guys will do quite well in that aspect. You guys also do very well in like administrative work because of that 4 first, finance. But then really, really well when it comes to like sales, commission work, and then creative arts. Of course, it's the 6. You guys attract that stuff to you and you can do extremely well. But look into partnership-based businesses as well. Just make sure you're the person that's responsible for the administrative person if you're a 42, just simply because you're naturally more organized than most people, unless they have a compound of like the 40s or they have a lot of 4s in their chart. That's the only way they're going to be able to sort of like match you when it comes to organization and just vision overall. Last one I'll discuss, which isn't even discussed in the Chaldean tablets really, I can just use common sense, is 51/6. That one, of course, is going to be a backwards version of the 15. I'd arguably say if you have this, it's very rare, and it's also like probably the most lucky version of the 6, siding with the 33. It's like tying with that. So what this means is that this is like 5 first, very lucky number, 1 leadership ability, and then the 6, which means you're going to have a lot of high energy with this number. A life path of this number is going to give a person the ability to push themselves to their limits. They might develop a lot of enemies in their life. They might be somebody who is doing a lot of high importance. They usually have jobs or like CEOs, head of like Secret Service, CIA, FBI, things of this nature. Like it's a very high status sort of life path. Like you're meant to have a high status position, and as such you develop very high status opposition as well. So you got to be very careful of that. It's the royal star of the man. So they really consider this number to be like a supercharged human being who doesn't take no for an answer and really runs through their obstacles. So if you have this life path, that's very good. I'd say be careful of things like stab wounds, gunshots. That's actually something that's actually brought up when you look at like the name number even. So with life path, same sort of thing. You're fatalistically meant to have enemies, but also be very, very successful. So if I was you, I'd train myself to my maximum capacity. I would develop my skill sets when it comes to like martial arts, self-defense, what have you. But what I mean by skill sets is within your career, making sure you're the best at what you do. Use that 1 energy to become the very best, the pinnacle of success in whatever it is that you're doing. Understand that enemies just come with that. It is what it is. But you just nonetheless just be as careful as you possibly can while having that 5 there is going to make you want to take risks anyways. So I can't tell you guys anything. Like, who am I? I can't tell you guys nothing. When you have that 5 in your chart, like you guys naturally will be risk takers that just want to sort of just put yourself out there and see what happens. Like 5s are that, you guys are just those guys, whether you're a guy or a girl. Sorry, girls, I don't mean to say it like that. Male or female. Whether you're a male or female, you're going to take those kind of risks. You're going to be entrepreneurial. You're going to be the type of person that wants to travel a new country, not care how you get back. You guys are just pretty wild people in general. I'm an 8, so I'm pretty restricted, but you guys have that 5 energy. When you have that 51/6, you'll get the luxury things in life through taking the biggest risk that even somebody like me, your astrologer or numerologist, would look at it and be like, raise eyebrows at. But nonetheless, it actually works for you guys. So to sum it up, the higher the risk for 51/6, the greater the reward. Be fearless, but coming from the 8, please try to be as cautious as possible. Make sure you're not putting your life in danger. But with that life path, it's just meant to be very intense. That's not my karmic one. That's you guys' one. So have fun with it. You're meant to be extremely wealthy. I hope this does sum up the 6 perfectly for you guys. If you have any further questions about it, just leave it in the comment section for me. Aside from that, like, subscribe. Holla at me too for today, guys. Peace.